And everybody.
All right, welcome everybody, all 169 of you to this
Great.
fabulous
Thanks,
session
Natalia.
with Lisa Hundley and Ivana Bankovic, and I'm Kevin McCoy here
Wow, Belarus. Wow.
in Belgrade, Serbia. And and that's what we're looking for right here, the beginning. You know, the course, I hope, Lisa Hundley's Taking English Teaching Online. It would be great if you can wave or do something if you were here last night. Okay, good. It's always good to have a return customer. That means we're doing something okay. The toolbar in Zoom, I think you know it. We went over last night, but the things we want to draw your attention to are the chat box, where that speech bubble is, because we want you to contribute a lot tonight, and the reactions button to the far right. And if you click on that right now, you can send us a thumbs up or an applause. That's right, you can only send us positive messages. That's all we accept here. Okay, and right now, if you click on those three dots near your name and your video rectangle, then you can rename yourself with your first name and your country, or anything you like really, but it's for the sake of your own privacy, it's better not to have your full name probably. We are recording right now. We're on Facebook Live, I hope. And we're also recording this, and we will put it on the internet. We hope that you're going to submit some homework assignments to Lisa's Google Classroom. And by doing so, you agree to let us share them in the course, if you do so. All right? We're going to show you some interesting tools tonight. It does not mean we endorse them. We just find them useful, and they're always free to an extent. And you know, we love the old school. Yeah, there she is. And I got my marker pen. Marker pens work best for this, and holding your paper very still. 5 sessions this week. Monday, Tuesday. Today's Tuesday. This is making the most out of Google Classrooms with our special guest from Eisenstadt, Austria, Ms. Lisa Hundley. All right, Lisa, I'm going to hand the reins over to you. Teach us something, please, about Google Classrooms.
Excellent. Okay, thank you, Kevin. Hi, everybody. And don't forget, if you like something, you can hold up a smiley, or you can give a thumbs up or an emoji anytime. So welcome back. It's nice to see you. And as Kevin mentioned, I'm coming to you from Eisenstadt, Austria. I'm from the United States originally, but I live and work in Eisenstadt and am teaching at a gymnasium. My students are age 10 to 18, and we've been online since March 16th. So a lot of what I'm talking about this week is directly related to my experience with moving school online. And today we're going to talk about Google Classroom. And when I say that phrase, Google Classroom, I'll have to say it slowly because I'm having trouble saying Google Classroom. So sometimes I might just say classroom. I mean Google Classroom. I'd like to just give you an overview of some of its features, and also to demonstrate 4 activities that we've created for you, or to show what we've done with students as well. And we'll get your participation. So I'm looking forward to that. First question is, how would you rate your experience with Google Classroom to date? And I'd like to ask you to go to Mentimeter, which we used yesterday, There's a QR code for our Facebook Live viewers. You can scan the code or you can hold your phone up to your laptop. And you can also find the survey on menti.com, menti.com, and use the code 603621. And Ivana has put that in the chat. And she's going to share the results. Oh, wow. Okay. So far, we're dead even. Oh, the experienced users are catching up.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. We have a lot of experienced users. So
Good.
Yeah, but we have the full range.
We have and we've got some people who are new to Google Classroom.
Well, I hope we can give them some ideas that haven't occurred to them up to this today. All right, thank you very much. You can continue to submit there while we.
Okay, so thank you for your feedback there. And as Kevin mentioned, if you're an experienced Google Classroom user, hopefully we'll give you some ideas that you can take into your own teaching. And we would also welcome your comments and suggestions, because there are probably a lot of things that you know that maybe I'm not aware of too. So if you're using Google Classroom, it's connected with all kinds of Google stuff. And raise your hand if you've Googled anything in your life. Maybe that's a silly question. Okay, we've even turn it into a verb to Google something. Many of you have Gmail accounts. You might use Google Drive, different things like that. So you don't have to have a Gmail account to access Google Classroom or to set up a Google Classroom account for yourself, but it helps sync all of the different tools in the Google suite, like Google Drive, Photos, etc., but it's not necessary. And you can use these tools also without Google Classroom, but they link nicely. So Google Classroom, for those of you who are not sure what it is, it's simply a free, good price, free online space to organize your classroom. And I like it because, because it's a way to organize things that you are using and doing anyway. You can share information with students, you can make announcements, you can collect and post grades, you can meet your students online like we're doing on Zoom right now through the feature called Google Meet. And that's the G Suite for Education is required for that. So check with your school administration if they're okay with you signing up that way. Google Meet, again, it's kind of the equivalent of Zoom. It's a place where you can meet with your students either in a whole class meeting, individual meetings, small group discussion, users or students can access it through a code given to them by the teacher, much like you entered Zoom today. And let's go to the next slide. There we go. And what I would recommend with Google Classroom or any of these tools we're talking about today is just kind of play around with them and try them for yourself. A lot of them are quite intuitive and user-friendly, but it does take a little time before you get used to things. And I would highly recommend trying things out with yourself or maybe with a few colleagues or family members before you try them with students. And it's also a good idea then to give your students a little bit of instruction depending on their level of digital literacy as well. There also, by the way, are tons of YouTube tutorial videos out there, which I'll mention at the end. So when I create a classroom, it looks like this. And this is a classroom that I've actually created for our sessions here this week, taking English teaching online. There's a class code, which is blacked out, which means I'm not going to give it to you now, but I will give it to you at the end of the session. There's a general overview. There's a stream, classwork, people, and grades. The first feature of Stream is a place where you can see and post announcements and information. Your students can reply to you there. It's sort of like a discussion board or chat. The next thing is called classwork. And that's where you can post assignments and you can organize things into different topics. You'll see that I have session 1, which was what we did yesterday. And this is session 2 today. We have some assignments posted for you, or some activities posted for you today. With creating classwork, it's nice because you can create your own assignments, and these would be documents that you create yourself. You can also form and make quizzes, and you can set the parameters of the quiz if they should be self-grading or not. You can also post material for your students, and this would be something that you don't create yourself. For example, maybe you have a document that you want to upload. This would be the place to do that, like in some sort of ebook or irregular verb chart or reading text or something special. You can also post audio. And I also like the fact that you can reuse material between classes that you establish. And it just is one less step between uploading and downloading everywhere. To add people to your class, you just go to the little people option and you either type in a person's email or you give your students a code and they enter themselves.
Lisa, we've got a question in the
Sure.
chat box from Erlyn, who tried Google Classroom, but found that students found it very difficult. And I'm wondering if you think it's difficult, or you just think getting into it?
Well, I'd be curious if you wouldn't mind maybe following up on what did they find difficult? Did they find getting into the classroom difficult, or did they find using the different options and the different material difficult? I think one thing that could be challenging at first is, and especially for the teacher before you get used to it, is how you set everything up. For example, if you want students to be able to edit a document in something called Google Docs, then you have to set that as an option. Otherwise, they won't be able to do it. So I can see how students might find that difficult if they are instructed to write a document and then they go to the document, but they can't actually write on it because the teacher hasn't set the settings on the document correctly, or a number of things would need to be worked out.
We've got another question, Lisa, on what is the difference between quiz, question, and assignment? If you don't think that's the right time to go into it, that's okay.
A quiz assignment is made by something called Google Form, and you can literally make a multiple choice short answer drop-down quiz, and a question is just something kind of like a discussion board that you would want the students to respond to.
Oh, like a forum. Excellent.
Kind of like a forum, yeah. I mean, you can ask questions in a quiz, but the question is not, and the question would not be graded, for example.
So quiz is Google Forms, and we're going to use Google Forms at the end of this webinar, aren't we?
Yeah, today, to get your feedback. Good questions. And another option that is available here too is grades. And every time you assign your students an assignment with a grade value or a point value, that's then stored, and the student can click onto their name and see their points. Excuse me, I have to cough. Just a minute, please. Okay, I just drank some coffee, so maybe that's why. Students can click on their grades and they can see what they got on all of the different assignments. And what I like is that as a teacher, you can assign points or not. Some things you can have list as ungraded. Just to show you this screen again real quick to remind you of all of the different tools in the Google Suite. A lot of you might use Google Drive to store documents. If we can scroll forward to 2 more slides. There we go. Perfect. Google Drive. Who stores things on Google Drive? Give me a hands up or an emoji. Yeah, a lot of people use Google Drive. You can also give me a wave if you want to stretch a little. So if you're using Google Drive, it's even easier to put your things on Google Classroom because you just literally link them. So you can create something in Google Drive and link it right to your classroom, or you can create something in Google Classroom and it saves on Google Drive. And I like this because it's stored in a cloud-based tool and you don't have to worry about keeping it on your hard drive and losing track of it there. So in Google Classroom, and again, this is a website. This is not something that you need to download. You go to the website and we'll give you information of how to get into the classroom that I've set up for this week. You can change the banner, you can change colors, you can set different configurations. And that takes just a little learning by doing to get used to. Next question. So it looks like we have quite a few Google Classroom users and then some new people as well, a few in between. So if you've used Google Classroom before, what's been the most helpful? And we're going to ask you to use a new tool, which is Padlet. Some of you may have heard of Padlet before. Ivana has posted the link in the chat, I see. There's also a QR code again, so feel free to have a look there. And again, the question is, what has been the most useful thing for you using Google Classroom? To comment on this Padlet wall, just double click anywhere on the wall and a little text window will come up. And then once you've finished your text, you just click somewhere else on the wall and your comment will be there. You don't need to save it or change it. Having everything in one place, I'm seeing. Yes, absolutely. That's one thing I'm really enjoying. And then also students can't say, I didn't know what the homework was. I didn't get the email. So all in, having things in one place, that's definitely a benefit. Testing grammar through quizzes, sure. And I'll be touching on that a little bit when we talk about checking student progress.
I wonder, Lisa, since most of us have been converted to online teaching, I wonder if there are teachers that were using Google Classroom before when they were doing traditional face-to-face teaching, and if they will use it, integrate it with their face-to-face teaching. Maybe you can tell us, did you do that?
I have used Google Classroom features before. I haven't used an entire class exclusively on Google Classroom because we have a learning platform here in Austria that we're using. And, I see someone just posted a meme that I was just checking that out. And, but I use the tools of Google Classroom, but now that we've been at home teaching more remotely, I know that I will definitely be bringing more of the e-learning features into face-to-face teaching. And I know several teachers who have been using Google Classroom, or at least tools in the Google suite to enhance their teaching. And I think everyone's going to be sticking with it or incorporating it into their face-to-face teaching. And I want to mention as well, you don't need to use Google Classroom to use Google tools. For example, you can create Google documents for your students. You can create Google quizzes for your students using the function called Google Forms. And you don't have to use Google Classroom in order to give those to your students. You can just create it and send your students a link. Google Classroom, though, is a place where you can keep everything organized all together. Yes, the Finding Nemo emoji. Wait, what is Google Classroom? I forgot. Okay. It looks like we've got a lot of comments related to keeping things in one place. Kevin, have you noticed anything?
That seems to be organization, keeping things in place seems to be the main theme that I'm seeing here.
I see one comment that I think is worth mentioning about deadlines, that you can set deadlines and the deadlines are clearly visible to students, so there's no question about when something is due. That's a good point. Okay. Great. Thank you very much, Ivana. That's good to see. Okay. So now we're going to try some activities. We're going to do 4 altogether, and it's time for you to participate. 4. Let's start. So the first activity that we're going to do is designed for young learners, but just to give you a little overview of the Google Classroom interface, when I want to give students an assignment or look at the assignment, I just go back to my classwork section and I find the session that I'm on. So today we're on session 2, and I'm going to click on the activity that I've uploaded there. This one is called adverb or adjective, and there are 2 very simple things that you can do. This is an activity that was created using what's called Google Slides. And Google Slides are like PowerPoint slides. It's a way that you can create content and organize them in a clear way for your students. You can also hyperlink things, which is really nice. Okay, so you're going to see 3 sentences, and in each sentence there's an underlined word. If the underlined word is an adjective, I want you to hold your hand up, left or right. If the word is an adverb, I want you to wave the other hand. Because I realize when you're in the camera, you're thinking, wait, is it backwards? Is this my right? Just one still hand up is an adjective, and the wavy hand is the adverb. Okay, you got it? Give me a thumbs up if you got it. Okay, let's start. So the cool thing here is if we get the answer right, we earn a tooth for the teddy bear. So, my neighbor is a nice lady. Adverb or adjective? Let's see everybody's hands. Yes, correct. Adjective. Excellent. You are correct. My brother sings beautifully. Adjective or adverb? Yes, you are correct. It is an adverb. I see answers in the chat. Good. I see double hands up. Adverbative. Okay, we have 2 teeth. Yay. Let's do another one. 2. She wore her favorite red shirt. Adjective or adverb? Come on, I know. Everyone put your hands up. It's good to move a little bit. Correct. It is an adjective. Okay, so we got another tooth. Excellent. I see the participants in the chat raising their hands too. All right. Great, thank you. So that's an activity for younger learners. And we're going to show you another activity. Again, this will be a separate link on Padlet. So please check this information out. This is on the chat, or you can, for our Facebook Live users, you can scan the QR code. And before you submit an answer, we'd like to show you how we created this activity. This was also done in Google Slides, and it's an activity to promote higher order thinking, and it's called Which One is Different? So the first slide is simply 3 photos pasted on, a hammer, a shovel, and a cone. Then we've got 5. And here's the final here's the final slide. And I think, Kevin, how long would you say this slide took to create?
About 1 minute. I just pulled different tools out, put them down, and so this is activity. Yeah, this is something that's very easy to create. And your question is, in the Padlet link that Ivana sent to you, or in the chat, which one is different, and say why. You have a hammer, a saw, a shovel, a flashlight, and a pylon/cone. Yeah. Let's give the participants a little time here.
Yeah.
Because this is pretty fun, and you can answer for any of them, right?
Yeah, there's no correct answer.
We'll see one answer for each. Do you have any answers?
I would say, I'm trying to think how the hammer is different. I think that's the only thing that would like drive something in. The flashlight, maybe that's the only one that requires batteries.
Okay, I'm going to say the saw. It's the only one that can be used as a musical instrument.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, the chat. I'm looking at the chat box, and
we've got a lot of responses. Okay.
And also at what have I just done? and also in Padlet. What do we see in Padlet?
The flashlight or the torch doesn't need a lot of effort. Ah, okay. I hadn't thought about that. You don't need to physically do anything.
Yeah, does anyone have an answer for the hammer? Olchka, do you see? Okay, now I've got Padlet in front of me. Okay, many people pointing out that the cone or pylon is not actually a tool, but that's only for people that have not used it
Yeah.
as a tool. But they're correct. Okay.
Oh, but someone said the pylon, there's no need to activate it. Like you don't have to physically manipulate it to
Sure.
have it serve its function. You just place it.
I want to hear an answer for the hammer and the. Well,
Somebody posted if I had a hammer. Hey, it's one of my students in this Padlet posting funny memes. We gotta have some fun with it.
yeah, I think the hammer is the only one that has two functional pieces on it. It has the nail pounder and the nail remover on both sides of the head.
Yeah, right.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Interesting responses, absolutely. And this is a kind of activity that you could present to any age, but it again, because there's no correct answer and it's based on the question of why, it promotes kind of conceptual thinking and it gives you a chance to get to know the students' perspectives on things. I mean, potentially even their values. And this is an activity that is very easy to create electronically using something like Google Slides for class discussion. And you could use this in something like a Zoom session. You could also post it for them to do asynchronously, like write about it, speak about it, make a Flipgrid about it, for example.
Let's go back to the slideshow. Mm-hmm. What's interesting, many times when we create an activity, like we as teachers want to know the answers. When I create which one is different, I have no idea. I just throw 5 random pieces in there and let the students create the answers. I don't know what they are. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. It could also be something that students create as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although I'm sorry. Although I can see students creating one and then having a correct answer in mind and trying to see if their classmates can guess their train of thought. That's another interesting activity.
Yeah, sometimes students have to unlearn the idea of correct answers, don't they?
Absolutely, absolutely. It can be uncomfortable, but then very freeing for sure. Okay, we've got another activity for you, and this was actually made using slides as well, but for something a little bit different. This is going to be a vocabulary graphic organizer. And the picture I'm showing you there is simply a screenshot of a textbook that my students are working with now, a workbook, and it's a vocabulary list. And raise your hand if any of your students are using material like this, where they have a word list at the end of their chapter or unit, and they've got the English word, maybe sentences with the English word, and then perhaps a translation. May or may not be there. Can you give me an emoji or a wave if this kind of material looks familiar? Yeah, okay. All right. Getting some emojis out there. Good. Word lists at the end of the book, etc. So that's fine. This is an effective way to learn vocabulary, but it's only one way. And I think this next activity promotes looking at new words from different perspectives. So again, I would go back to my Google Classroom and I would select the assignment. And this is what a vocabulary graphic organizer looks like. This is one that students have drawn by hand. Usually in the past, I've had them do these by hand. Either sometimes they get out rulers, sometimes they just do it freehand. And I always ask them to write them in their notebooks. And the idea is that in the middle, they have a keyword or a target word, and it's surrounded by 4 other rectangles, and in each rectangle goes a different perspective on the word. So one could be translation, direct translation, what could be a sentence, one could be a definition, either from a dictionary or their own definition. Maybe they would want to check with the teacher if it's accurate or accurate enough. And then some sort of mnemonic device, picture, or image to help them remember the word. So I figured out how to do the handwritten version and transfer it to an electronic version. And I was very happy to figure out how to do this. So this is one that I made just to replicate what a student had done. And what I did was I created these slides with Google Slides. I made a template and then I posted it for students. And I was really excited that I figured out how to put a rectangle inside of a bigger rectangle. That was my big accomplishment. And it was relatively easy to do. You can change and I could change the fonts, I could change the size. And just like working with a Word document, you can manipulate the text, you can do different things. You can, if you see, look on the left side there, I duplicated it so the students can do more than one. And for the picture image component of this graphic organizer, one easy thing to do is they can go to insert, or a person can go to insert, image, and then search the web, because remember, Google is a massive search engine. So all they have to do is type in the word and pictures come up. Or they can upload their own photo, or they can draw it in by hand using the draw feature. So you type in the target word valley and you can select one of those photos. And so the final product looks like this. There you go. And the nice thing is and students can still do it by hand, and there's definite cognitive benefits to drawing and doing these things by hand. But I found that this is a really neat way to easily store them. And because that's always actually been a question I have, is students write so many in their notebooks, and how can they keep them in an organized way? Because they have other things in their notebooks too that they're working on. So now we're going to ask you for a little bit of help with one of these. So we'd like you to write a definition or a sentence for a word that we are going to show you right now. The word is coffee. Just like last night, I've got my jezva here. Unfortunately, it's empty. Coffee. So we have some translations. There are more translations, of course. Can you please, in the chat function, oh yes, I am totally using realia. I am all about realia, because you can't explain a jezva unless you show someone the jezva.
You're welcome to use humor in defining the word coffee.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we have write some sentences in the chat, please, and also some definitions. Drink a lot of coffee. Yes. I'm drinking coffee right now. Great.
Wow.
Definition: high blood pressure enemy. Coffee is a must in Montenegro. I've heard this.
Happiness in a cup. That's a good definition.
Ooh, that's a good definition. You can't start your day without coffee.
Highly addictive product. You know, I've read recently that it is really quite addictive.
A hot drink. Yeah, that's a definition.
Coffee gives you the opportunity to meet your friends in a wonderful atmosphere.
Nice. Friendly chat. So those are maybe associations. Maybe that could be something in the picture or image that you might put in. And again, just like the which one is different, the picture and image, that can be something that the student understands. It doesn't mean that everybody else has to understand it. Somebody says they don't like coffee and they're still alive.
Very plainly says, I don't drink coffee.
Yeah, that's okay. Fine. That's all right. But you get the idea, I think, where you have the target word in the middle, and then you define the word by looking at it from different angles so that it's more than just rote memorization of a vocabulary word. And by the way, I usually do these for vocabulary words that are more difficult for the students. When they go through their vocabulary list, I try to have them rank the words, like either 1 to 5 or 1 to 3, and with 1 being I can use this word in a sentence, I understand it. Number 3 being I have no idea. So usually on a vocabulary list, there are some words that they know more than others. So this would be a way to enhance the ones that they really need help with or they really don't understand yet, because it's different for every student.
I like Simona. She wrote, "If there is no coffee, there is no breakfast." I'm not sure what
Please,
that means. That means like if she doesn't have coffee, she's not going to make breakfast, or coffee is breakfast. It's really
prerequisite.
it's a deep statement, like a proverb.
A prerequisite. Okay. Last activity we're going to show you today. This is called the Sniglet Dictionary, and this is an actual activity that I'm using with current students. So you are going to see how you add to my current students' assignment, and the students are going to be surprised that there suddenly are all these new things on their document, but they'll be pleasantly surprised. So this is something that I made with my 12 and 13-year-old students, and we made a Sniglet Dictionary. I'll explain what a sniglet is in a second if you're not sure. And we decided to theme it around the being in quarantine, and so it's the Corona Days Sniglet Dictionary. This was stored on a Google Doc, so this is something that I didn't have to use Classroom for, but that I've stored on Classroom. And the advantage of Google Docs is it saves on your so-called Google Drive, and you can update it automatically. It updates automatically. Multiple users can collaborate, and you have the convenience of being able to link it anywhere you like in Google Classroom. So a sniglet, just for your information, if you're not sure, a sniglet is a word, according to Rich Hall, a word that does not appear in the dictionary, but which should. For example, like the word hangry, which is a combination of hungry and angry. Everyone has that hangry time of day, usually. All right, before we actually get into the document, let me ask you a quick question. This is a word that one of my students created, and this is a 12-year-old student. What do you think garstay means? Please respond in the chat and let us know what you think the word garstay means. Someone wrote relax in the garden. Garbage stay. Oh, that means like the garbage just stays where it is and you can't be bothered to take it out. Yeah. Garden stay. Sounds like Garfield. Yes, I agree. Kevin, what else are we seeing there?
Sorry, I was getting carried away typing in my own invention. We're stay in the garden, feeling miserable for a night.
A bad night.
Garage. It means to stare at lazy people.
Oh,
I think we need a word for that.
we do. That would be something. Actually, hold that thought for just a minute. So I'm going to reveal the answer to you. Some of you have already come up with the solution, with the answer. It's actually a verb. It's a regular verb. So the past simple would be ed. And it means when you have to stay in the garden because you can't go anywhere else because of the quarantine. For example, on Sunday, my family and I just garstayed. Okay.
That's good. I still like to stare at
Lazy people.
at people as if they were lazy. He totally garstayed me.
He's scared. Yeah, garstayed me. I was garstayed. All right, what we're going to do in a second here is we're going to switch screens and I'm going to take you into my actual current live Google Docs. And this is what you're going to see. You're going to see a document that kind of looks like a Word document. So I'm going to take over the screen here real quick. And hope that that works. Just a second. Oh, I can't share my screen.
So we're about to
Let me try again. We're going to visit my. There we go. Okay. Can everybody give me a thumbs up if you can see me moving up and down the screen? Can you give me a thumbs up? Yay, we're there. Okay, thank you. Okay, so when you go to Google Classroom, and we'll give you the link and the code to get into what I'm looking at right now, this is what you'll see. And before you create content, it'll just be blank, and then you as a teacher can add content. So we're on session 2, and we're going to go to the Corona Days Sniglet Dictionary. And I'm going to click right there. Okay. Oh. So, hi everybody, the document is up and live. Feel free to add your sniglets here with definitions. Just type anywhere below. I'm going to delete this. Give me a thumbs up if you just saw me delete that, so I know you got it. Good. Yay. All right. Now in the chat, could you please give me a sniglet, a made-up word? I see that we have a couple additions. Could you add a sniglet into the chat, and I will add your word to my students list right now.
So they should make up a word, right?
Ball stay. Make up a word, and if you can, give us the definition. Coronication. Rose day.
I'm gonna ask what coronication means.
Apartcation. And that is a apartment vacation. Oh, that's what we say in Austria. I'm taking my holiday on Balconia. Corona party. Oh, that's 2 words. That's not a sniglet. We gain. What's we gain?
We gain weight.
Covidiot. Please give us the definitions here if you don't mind. I'm going to change the font to. I'm going to change it to a little bit darker. Fam time. Oh, I like that. Fam time is family time.
That should be a real word. Huh?
I spent some fam time this weekend. It was really great. Must go. What's a must go? A huggus? Ooh, oh, we gain. We gain is weight gain. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm laughing really loudly into the microphone, but that's funny.
You know, just to point out, Lisa, because there's so many creative and interesting ideas in here, if the audience wants, I believe you can click those 3 dots in the bottom of the chat box and save the chat. So you can.
Yeah, we can add them. Yeah, we'll add them later. You also are going to have the opportunity to add to this. But you get the idea. This is something that you can add live. And now, if I leave this document and I go back to my class page and I click on it again, dun, da, 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 your work is there still. Okay. So I'm going to turn it over to Kevin.
So students can build a whole dictionary, huh?
Absolutely.
Or write a story together.
This is fantastic for collaborative
edit
work.
Each other's work.
Yes. That also includes you can accidentally delete someone's work too, so you have to be careful. Okay.
Is it not backed up at all?
The versions are backed up, but for example, if I come in and delete that, then it will be gone unless I put it back in.
So you probably teach your students, if you're writing something you love, copy and paste it and put it on your own.
There you go. Yeah, you'd have to walk through that with students, and they will figure it out. Also, when they're working together, they'll kind of organize that amongst themselves. But sometimes you have to establish that as sort of ground rules that we're not going to tease each other or bother each other with deleting things. Okay, so Kevin, I'm going to turn it back over to you. And yeah, somebody just mentioned you can undo the changes. That's absolutely right. Okay, so I've shown you 4 different activities in Google Classroom that are using Google tools that you don't have to use in Classroom, but the benefit of using them in Classroom is that they're all in one place. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this seminar, this webinar, there are so many really great YouTube tutorials out there, and I highly recommend if you're interested in pursuing Google Classroom or any features using any of the tools, that you simply type in what you're looking for and you will find someone on YouTube to explain it to you. These are 2 YouTubers that I really like because they're teachers and they have given me a lot of really practical, useful tips, and I find that their explanations are very clear. And the nice thing about a tutorial is you can stop and start and learn a lot. And I will warn you that once you start, sometimes it's a little bit addicting once you get into all the fun stuff. Okay, so we also gave you a little homework assignment yesterday, which was to make a Flipgrid video. And the links to this and the information for this will be in the Session 2 folder that I will direct you to at the end of this webinar today. And we have actually already received some submissions, and I think Ivana has a clip of one. Is that right, Ivana? Ah, we've got one. Great.
Hello, everybody. My name is Elena Simona. I'm from Sibiu, Romania. And here are my activities that I've been doing during this lockdown period. So let's begin. That's me preparing the lessons.
Well done.
Yeah, course books on. She's
For
going
my
to
student. Then me again checking the homework on Google Classroom. Here exercising on my bike. Well, not very often because I'm sometimes a bit lazy. Yes.
I hope people don't garstay her.
And me baking with my personal chef, right?
Personal chef. What a nice.
And this is the result.
Yum, that's some good looking Romanian food.
I've been thinking about you while eating it. Bye.
How generous of you, Yelena.
Thank you very much, Lena.
Thank you. What a wonderful, charming video.
Let's give her an emoji high five or emoji applause. So we have a Flipgrid assignment. Actually, there are 2 Flipgrid assignments, and the information is on Google Classroom, which we will share with you. We would love to have you contribute. You don't have to do it, but it sure would be nice to see what you have to say there. There are 2 choices of activities. Oh, we got some hands up for Simona. That's great. Because it's Session 2, that means it's time for homework number 2. So what we'd like you to do.
You don't have to do, but.
You don't have to do number 2, but we'd like to hear from you. I can't think of another word to rhyme. Okay. We'd like to ask you to do voluntarily, of course, but again, it would be really neat to see your results. To do a vocabulary graphic organizer of your own, like we did with the coffee exercise today, or to add to our Sniglet dictionary. And that should be available actually right now. So after the webinar, you can hop on and start adding some words. We've got great contributions in the chat. So that's fantastic. If you want, you can do both activities. You don't have to choose between 2. And now we're going to give you the information. I think Ivana has posted it into the chat box, and we're going to pop up a slide for you to see so you can get into our Google Classroom with the code. Ask you to do if you want to. Thank you, Roxana, for the rhyme assistance. There we go. So to get into our Google Classroom for this week, you're just going to go to www.classroom.google.com and enter the code CA5IOJY. And that should take you into the Google Classroom, and you can poke around and look at all of the things for session 1 and session 2. There will be also material for sessions 3, 4, and 5, but I haven't posted it there yet because I don't want you to look at it quite yet. Play around in Lisa's Google Classroom. Yes. To wrap up today, just wanted to give you an idea of some things you can do with Google Classroom and remind you that an online platform like Google Classrooms is a way that you can organize all of the things that you are doing anyway as a teacher, and it's nice to have everything in one place. I would encourage anyone to explore the different tools and see what works for you, and consider what resources your students have, how much internet availability they have. If you're using the Google Education Suite, you would need to get permission from your school. If you're just using it individually, you can create your own Google Classroom and find what works best for you. And I think it's always fair to use traditional activities and materials that you've always been using, and you can enhance them with this digital medium. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. You know your students. You know what works best, and I think as teachers we can sense and feel that because we know our kids, and I would trust your instincts as a teacher, and you got this totally.
Cool, thanks, Lisa.
And now we'd like to get some feedback, I believe.
We're gonna do some Google Forms, but to thank Lisa, I think we've got time.
Is that an accordion?
It is an accordion. We got a little time for a song here.
High five.
It's called the Teaching Online Song. And it goes like this. I was told to teach online without any training or time. There was a course fund free with specialists only. Now I am virtually fine, except for my spine.
Bravo, bravo, bravo. That was brilliant, thank you.
Gotta have some fun in the evening session.
Absolutely, there's always a little special of
We let our hair down in the
7 p.m. session, yeah.
A little bit.
That was fantastic, thank you very much. Oh, wow, the bar has been raised. I'm gonna have to think of something for tomorrow evening.
The silliness bar.
Yes. It's never a bad thing to raise the silliness bar. All right, what did you think about our session today? We would love your feedback. And to do this, we're going to send you to one more link today. And this is actually going to be in my our Google Classroom now. And Ivana has posted the link. And that will be in the chat. If you don't see it, just give a little scroll up. And I'm going to take over the screen just for a few minutes here again, and we're going to watch as you fill this in. There won't be any names associated with it, but we just want to show you how this works. So I'm going to switch to my screen. Here we go. Oh, there are your lists. Session 2, we've got 34 responses, so you can see that your responses are, 41, your responses are coming in as we speak. And what I like about this is you can get a graphic organization of the responses, so that's kind of neat to see.
I like how it appears in real time. It
Mhm.
develops in real time right in front of you. So it's a great tool for polling students about their opinions or even creating.
And also, it's a nice tool to use to find out what students think about a topic before you begin teaching it, for example, to
Good
get background
idea.
knowledge of what do they already know, what are their beliefs about something, what are their ideas, as using it as a starting point for teaching.
And of course, this works fine asynchronously. You wouldn't have to do it in real time as
Right.
we are doing right now.
You don't have to do it live. That's a good point. And the nice thing here is that responses come in, and when the responses have been submitted, I can click here and I can get an Excel type sheet that I can download and store easily with everyone's comments, responses, and results. Okay, so thank you for your feedback. I'm going to turn it back to Kevin.
Very cool. It's great to see so many people here tonight. We have 230.
Wow.
And lots of people from Poland. Thank you. And it looks like from Turkey tonight as well, even Belarus. So lots of people in the Rilo Belgrade region, but people from outside too, which is great. We welcome everybody.
Botswana, hello.
Oh,
Yeah.
Botswana too.
Albania.
That is great. Okay. So Lisa, tell me, today's Tuesday. We've still got 3 more sessions.
We
What
do.
exciting new tips and activities can we look forward to tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I'm going to give you some insider information and tips and lots of pictures and things like that of what I've done to take books. This is an actual snapshot of the books right behind me. These are the books I'm using right now, and what I've done to put materials from my books online, and give you some ideas of how you can use the digital format to enhance the books that you're using. And so we're seeing you tomorrow.
Is the Diary of Anne Frank required reading in Austria? I'm curious. Or
it's not required reading in Austria, but it's required reading in one of my classes. Yes, I was able to select.
Do students like it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, and I read it with a group of 14-year-olds, and we started it before the quarantine, and it's taken on a whole new meaning since the students have been in quarantine. Which
Wow,
is
I can
really
see
insightful.
that. It would really resonate since she's in quarantine as well.
Yeah, for 500 some days. Yeah. I mean, the circumstances were unfortunately dramatically different, but I think the feelings are quite similar. I think with the book, with the Diary of Anne Frank, at first the students thought, okay, this is boring. It's just a girl talking about her life. And then they're like, wait, actually, she talks like we do. She could be one of us. Like, she's not that different than us. So it's been very rewarding. I would like to also thank Kevin and Ivana for all of their help with these sessions and helping with everything behind the scenes. So definitely shout out to the team.
It's our pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
She's not just saying that either. It really is our pleasure.
This is fun.
I can't think of anything better to do in the evening than hang out with teachers from 20 different countries.
From all over. It's so motivating and inspiring. It really is exciting. Absolutely.
So we hope to see you tomorrow night, everybody. Thanks, Kasia. I saw you waving. And we hope to see everybody tomorrow night. I saw Anya from Poland's Daughter, I think, tonight. So really great to see your faces. And we will see you tomorrow. Okay? You know, it will be the same Zoom meeting ID. And if you can't get in with that ID, then it means something happened, and you check the Relo Belgrade Facebook page, which I'm putting right now in the chat box. All right. Thank you, everybody. Good night, Lisa. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. I'm going to watch as everybody's like leaving. I can see more faces now.
It's kind of sad when we say
I
goodbye.
know, it's like bye, and then it goes blank.
No, it's really hard for me to press. Oh, Uliana's got her Ukrainian and American flags.
Nice.
It's really hard to press the end
I know.
button. It's
It's
just
so like, boom, you're gone, and then it's quiet.
it's just so cruel. But I'm going to do it.
No, give us one more minute.
Okay, one more minute.
One more minute. Yeah.
I've actually arranged my Zoom right now so I can see 49 people at one time.
Whoa.
That's a setting you guys can do if you look at your video camera, but not everyone can
Yeah.
do it. You have to have the right equipment. But so wonderful to see all these people. You know, we're just sitting here looking at each other.
More Zoom parties all week long.
All right. Oh, quite a few from Romania today too. Great. Okay, I'm going to hit the end button. I feel so guilty.
Bye. See you tomorrow.
Ah!
See you tomorrow. Bye. Bye.